Okay, it's 8:01 and we are going to get started. I want to welcome everyone to Bedford High School, Heskett Middle School, Columbus, Carrollwood, Bedford City School District's annual College Credit Plus informational meeting. I know this is a different format that we're used to. With this being, we're all in this virtual world, but thank you all for attending and being flexible. We do have our partner college counselor, admissions counselor, or CCP counselor, Amanda Churchill, who will be presenting for us. And we do have Miss Mary Lynn Delfino, who is here from Kent State. We should have a couple of more schools. I'm not sure if they're here just yet, but if they are, you can put in the chat that you're here and we can make sure you have an opportunity to present at the end. We are asking that if you have any questions, pretty much this is a presentation of what CCP is, the information, but if you do have questions, we're going to ask that you contact that person individually sometime after the presentation. If you do have a question that you need to ask immediately, you can always type it in the chat and Ms. Churchill will try to answer your question at the end of the presentation, but we want to be conscious of everyone's time. We are trying to keep this under an hour at best. If you have any questions, you can put in the chat. If not, I'm going to share my screen actually with you so you can see how to get in contact with the various college counselors that are, meet with our schools. So I'm going to present my screen real quick. Okay. So Ms. Churchill, I see you on my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Okay. All right. Thank you. And also, if everyone could mute your computers, your screens. I'm not sure if we have that capability too, but if you can mute your computer so we can block out any extra noise. Okay, so on my screen, if you are at the Bedford City School District's website, you are going to go over to where it says schools and click on Bedford High School. So you need to be on the Bedford High School website, okay? But you can easily get that from the Bedford City School District's website. Once you are on Bedford High School's website, you're going to scroll down to where it says Guidance Department. So this is our website that has a variety of information that is important to you all. But most importantly for today's meeting, the purpose of today's meeting, it says College Credit Plus. You're going to click on College Credit Plus. And this is where it lets you know that this is our meeting, our annual meeting date, and that we always have it here every single year, when the meeting will be held, what time, and here's the Zoom information. In order to get started, of course, you have to attend this meeting. And then at the end, you will need to complete what is called the intent to participate form. This is not a binding contract saying that your child has to participate in the program. This is just letting us know at the high school or whatever school your child attends that you are interested in your child attending the program. So here you have to download the file first, and then you can type into it. Once you have completed it, and that is you and your child, you have to return it to your child's school counselor, okay? So if I click on here, where it says intent to participate, you will notice that the form is here and it is fillable. However, you have to click on download as well, okay? So therefore, now the form has downloaded and I am going to be able to type in it. So this is information that you need to read through carefully, and then you can start typing in to the document just like that, okay? You can save it, and then you can email it to one of us, one of your school's counselors. So I am currently the junior counselor. Doug Dressman is the seniors, but of course the seniors are a little too old for this program now. Ms. Bridget Graham is the 10th grade counselor. Alicia Henderson is the 9th grade counselor. I believe Laura Hogue is the 8th grade counselor. I hope I didn't mess that up. Scott, correct me, Mr. Kronstein, correct me if I'm wrong. And Mr. Kronstein is the 7th grade counselor. And then Mr. Brinson is the counselor over the sixth grade counselor over at Carrollwood, and Mr. Bambrick is the sixth grade counselor over at Columbus. Okay. If I went too fast, if you missed that information, you can always call the school and find out who your child's counselor is. But make sure that you download the form first. Then you can type in it, you can save it, and send it to one of us school counselors. And that's how you get to our guidance page, okay? That's where you will find that form. Also on this page, not only is the intent form here, it's also information regarding the AccuPlacer. So if your child does not have a 3.0 GPA, which Ms. Churchill will explain all of that, here's a way to prepare for the AccuPlacer. You click on here. That is the test that is needed to test into a college course if your child does not have a 3.0 GPA. And here are all the college advisors' information for you to get in contact with or get information after this presentation. So here's Ms. Churchill's information from Lorain County Community College. Once again, that is the school that we have a partnership with, that we offer a certain amount of classes at the high school. Tri-C's information is right here, Kent State, Cleveland State, Brian Stratton, so on and so forth. Everyone's information is right here, okay? So you have any questions, any concerns, you can reach them after the presentation. That is all on our College Credit Plus page on our website, okay? All right, I'm going to stop sharing now.
I just entered the meeting.
Yes, that's fine.
So I don't know what you just said.
I'm sorry, what's your question?
I just entered the meeting, so I really don't know what you just said.
Okay, so we just got started with the CCP meeting, okay? So I just showed you all on our Bedford High School website how to get the information as far as who to talk to, what college information in the intent form that needs to be completed at the end of the meeting in order to participate in the CCP program. That needs to be done. Once that form is done, you do not have to fill out that form ever again, as long as the counselors have that form. So that's a one and done form that needs to be completed. We need that in order for any student to participate in the CCP program, okay? All right, so now I am going to turn it over to Ms. Churchill, and she's going to run the show.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. If you did join a little late, that's okay. Bedford is recording this presentation, and I believe we'll be posting it on their website, so you can go ahead and reference back. With that being said, this is a lot of information. So I swear the PowerPoint gets longer and longer every year. So with that being said, I'm going to be as thorough as possible. That way you get all the information so you can sit down and have a discussion with your student and your family to make sure that this is a program for them. You can always contact me if you have further questions following the presentation as well. I'll be giving my contact information at the end. In regards to questions, I want to be considerate of everybody's time. So what we will do is if you want to ask a question, you can type it in the chat and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. Or if you want to stick around and ask, we're happy to answer them at the end as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. And can everybody, let's see, Miss Paul, can you see my PowerPoint? Okay, thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate that. All right, so again, my name is Amanda Churchill. I do work for Lorain County Community College. We do partner with Bedford City Schools to run several programs at the high school. We'll get to the programs that or the classes that we offer towards the end, but in general, I want to give you information about the dual enrollment program for the state of Ohio College Credit Plus. There has been some changes this year due to COVID-19. Surprise, surprise, I know, but we're going to cover those as well. Okay, so what is College Credit Plus? It is Ohio's dual credit program, and students enrolled in this program will be earning college credit and high school credit at the same time. So if your son or daughter does enroll into this program, the classes they take at the college will be on their high school transcript affecting their high school GPA, as well as their college transcript affecting their college GPA. Okay, because students are dually enrolled, they do adhere to the policies and requirements of the college as well as their high school. It is open for students in grades 7 through 12. You must complete an assessment exam to be determined eligible for College Credit Plus. Now, with that being said, this is something that has changes the eligibility requirements. So that's something we will touch on. There was test scores that were required every year for placement to ensure readiness into the program. There's a little bit more flexibility and guidelines in regards to admissions. You can apply to any public college or participating private college, and you can be enrolled in more than one. I know a lot of students who take our LCCC classes at Bedford. Maybe they want an on-campus experience when they're an upperclassman, so they are enrolled with us and maybe Cleveland State or Kent or Tri-C. So that is an option to be enrolled in multiple institutions. Just remember that when you do participate in College Credit Plus, you do have to apply to the college to ensure you have access to student accounts, their services, and you're actively participating. So if you do participate in multiple institutions, you're going to have to apply to those institutions. And you must be an Ohio resident. So typically what that means is you do have to reside in Ohio for at least a year. So you can choose from a variety of college level courses as determined by placement testing and eligibility. So what the colleges are going to look at for admission is not only the assessment scores on ACT, SAT, AccuPlacer, or high school GPA, but they're also going to look at that scores for placement into courses. So while you might be eligible for a college English course, maybe your math's not quite there yet. And that's something your college advisor is going to sit down and go over with you each semester in regards to a placement and what your schedule is going to be looking like that for that term. You can take college credit to satisfy both high school and college requirements. I know that's what I do with a lot of my students. We try to kill two birds with one stone. So we want to ensure that they're taking courses that are not only geared to an academic pathway at the college, but that might satisfy some high school graduation requirements as well. We work very closely with the guidance counselors at the districts to ensure that high school graduation is a priority because that does come first. In regards to high school units, 3 or more credit hour college courses do convert to one high school unit. So a semester in English Composition 1 for fall term in college counts as a full year of high school English. I don't expect you to know and do the math, but that's exactly what we're here for, as well as the guidance counselors at the school district, and why we work so closely with them to ensure that your son or daughter is on track. So obviously students must successfully complete the course in order to earn college credit. Even if a student fails or withdraws from the course, the college transcript and high school transcripts will reflect the student's final grade. So just remember, in regards to readiness, the student wants to ensure that they're comfortable going into college level courses, because while they may be earning straight A's, they may be getting their first B's or C's in a college course because of the level of difficulty and the content involved. Students may take classes during the summer, fall, and spring semesters. As a college advisor, I never advise a student to start with summer, only because those are short-term classes. So they're 5 to 8 weeks long. A traditional college term is 16 weeks. So just think of 16 weeks worth of curriculum into 8 or 5 weeks. So it's the same amount of content, but it moves a little quicker and a little heavier. But some students may find that they are comfortable starting with the summer term. You can take courses at the high school, college campus, or online. So just ensure that you know that if you are going to take a college class at the high school, obviously the college has to be running the courses at the high school and have their instructors teach it physically there. I will say with COVID-19, a lot of colleges, or most colleges, are almost 100% remote right now. So if your son or daughter is having trouble with virtual learning at the high school level, take that into consideration moving into the next school year. If it's still going to be virtual and remote learning, we don't necessarily want to put them in a college level course remotely if the in-person is for them. So how can students participate? Obviously, you must be eligible for College Credit Plus based on assessment, exam scores, or GPA. The last thing we want to do is put a student in a program that they're not ready for. And if they aren't, that is okay. You will see, if you look at the percentages of participation in the state of Ohio, the majority of students that participate in the dual enrollment program are juniors and seniors. And that's because they've had English and math content under their belt before they are deemed eligible for this program. If you want to put it in perspective, I know we have a lot of middle school interest in CCP, but less than 1% of students that participate in this program are middle school students. And it's only because, again, of readiness. We don't necessarily want them to start in a program that might overwhelm them if they haven't even had school content yet. That prepares them for the college level work. Student scores must show that they are ready for college level courses in at least one subject on the exam, such as the ACT, AccuPlacer, ALEX, PlaceU, MapleSoft. So at LCCC, we do look at any of these scores. We, however, offer the AccuPlacer free of cost. But if they do have eligible ACT or SAT scores, we do accept those as well. And each college or university may have different exam requirements. So while at LCCC, at the community college, we are open enrollment and our admission is at the state level requirements. If your son or daughter is looking to participate in, for instance, Cleveland State, they may require ACT scores where we do not. They can assess with the AccuPlacer. So you do have to be knowledgeable in the college institution's admissions requirements as well. Colleges and universities will review student scores using statewide standards. And if a student's scores are not college level, colleges can consider the student's exam scores if the scores are within a specific range. So for example, if you take the AccuPlacer and you score a 248 in reading, college level is considered a 250. So by no means do we want to completely dismiss a student by 2 points if they have if they are within range, so the 248 with a high school GPA of a 3.0 or a recommendation form from the school district. Okay, so there's a little flexibility there if they just fall short of that college level benchmark. So due to COVID-19, eligibility assessment testing was impacted during spring 2020, and it will be impacted during spring 2021 as well. We have not had school districts arrange for testing with us at all this year. But because of that, flexibility has been provided for, and this says 2020-21 academic year. This is for 21-22 as well. So the flexibility that was put in place last year due to COVID is continuing into this school year as well. So while your son or daughter for admission may have had to test college level previously, now to be eligible for College Credit Plus going into this next year, it is a high school unweighted 3.0 GPA. That would admit them into the dual enrollment program. Okay. Now, again, we look at the GPA and test scores for two reasons: admission and then college placement. So for example, we offer at Bedford High School, we offer biology and English. We are eligible to place students into the biology course with the high school 3.0 unweighted GPA. However, we do need students to have 4 semesters of high school English and a 3.0 high school unweighted GPA for college English courses. So if you're a junior or senior with a 3.0 unweighted high school GPA, you qualify for that class. And again, that's something I'll evaluate on my end. if you fall short of that 3.0 GPA, but your son or daughter might feel that they are ready, they do have the option to assess remotely. And I'll give you that information at the end of this presentation. And it is on our website as well as Bedford's website. Okay. So how can students participate? Obviously, you must apply for admission into the college in order to be a college student and take college courses. Student must meet admissions requirement for each of the colleges they intend on participating in. You can contact the college to learn about their requirement, processes, paperwork, and deadlines. So when Ms. Paul showed us the CCP webpage on the Bedford website, that was excellent because it has each CCP contact for the institutions of the surrounding area. So emails, phone numbers, websites, application links, that was very helpful. So I've never really seen a school district do that before. So that's a very helpful resource for you as parents in order to get more information from each institution. Colleges do have the final decision on student admission. So we do have a lot of parents who set up meeting with high school principals to discuss their admission. But again, all of that decision making is through the college institutions. So if the student is considered eligible and has been admitted, then the college will discuss course options with the students based off their assessment scores, prerequisites, and other requirements. High school counselors can help students understand high school graduation requirements and CCP substitutions. So if you have a question whether or not a certain class fulfills a high school graduation requirement, they'll be able to answer that for you. Some high schools have more requirements for graduation than the state minimum. So again, your guidance counselor is going to be your person that you're going to want to contact and openly communicate with in participating in this program. Now, students must complete their first 15 credits in level 1 courses. That sounds limiting, but I promise it's not. So level 1 courses include transferable courses, courses in IT, computer science, anatomy and physiology, foreign language, that are part of a technical certificate, 15 or 30 credit hour pathways, study skills, academic or career success. The point of this rule is we don't want your son or daughter taking a bunch of classes that don't lead to anything. The whole goal of this program is to get students an early start to college, exposed to majors and career options, and ensure that they're on path to graduate with a degree that leads to gainful employment as well. So, so the 15 credits in the level 1, again, it does sound limiting, but it's a very large list. So it's really, it won't limit your son or daughter in regards to taking classes too much. Colleges must post their level 1 courses, and you can see each of their websites for details. And once the students complete their first 15 credit hours in level 1 courses, they can move on to level 2 courses. Okay. Level 2 courses are any other allowable college courses for which a student meets the prerequisites. There are some non-allowable courses within the CCP program. So private applied courses such as one-on-one instruction, for example, a one-on-one piano lesson or piano course, courses with high fees, study abroad courses, physical education courses, pass or fail grade courses, and remedial courses, or religious courses. Now, the remedial courses is a big one because if students don't test college ready upon high school graduation, typically they're put in remedial courses, which are refresher courses. A lot of the high school content is currently preparing our high school students for college level courses, so they are ineligible to take remedial courses. So grades in College Credit Plus earned in the college course is the same grade, again, that will appear on the high school transcript. So when you're thinking about academic scholarships and maintaining GPAs for athletic ability, whatnot, just keep in mind that the college courses might be a little bit more challenging for students. So they might not get their A's and B's like they would in their high school courses and maintain a high high school GPA to qualify for those scholarships. CCP course grades will be factored into the high school and college GPAs. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about grade weighting. If a high school uses a weighted grading scale for AP, IB, or honors courses in a subject area, then College Credit Plus courses in the subject area will be weighted using the same scale. So for example, if there is an AP English course offered at Bedford High School, that grade weight will be the same as the college English course at Bedford. So there's no real difference in regards to how it's going to affect your GPA. Okay, they're weighted the same. Students should consider courses in a career pathway that does interest them. Sometimes I have students who are like, Ms. Churchill, I have no idea what I want to do, and that's okay, especially because they are high school students. It is a time for them to explore and kind of get their feet wet a little bit. So while I always encourage students to consider high school graduation requirements and general education core courses such as social sciences, arts and humanities, there's also options to explore intro to classes to see what they might be interested in post high school. Students should ask about pathways that identify courses leading to a major or a degree requirement. So students may take CCP courses in subject areas that will satisfy those graduation requirements, and they must work with their school counselors to ensure that they are meeting any mandatory testing or other high school graduation requirements through their district. So how many classes can your son or daughter take? Let's say they qualify and they say, okay, well, a full-time student is 12 credit hours. Well, you have to take into consideration their high school classes as well. So students may be enrolled in up to 30 credit hours per year, which is not limiting either. The average full-time college student post-high school graduation takes 12 to 15 credit hours. But that does include their high school courses. So there is a math formula. And don't worry, I'm not going to make you do that this early in the morning, but it is something your guidance counselor as well as the college can do to ensure that you are taking the allotted amount of credit hours. Okay. The maximum number of credit hours allowable for this program is 120, which is not limiting either. It's a good amount. So if a student does enroll in more than the allotted 30 credit hours for the year, the school will discuss with the student whether or not they want to drop the course or pay for the course entirely. We have seniors in high school who are taking college classes and they want to take 15 credit hours, and we say, you know, you're only eligible for 12 this semester, spring semester here. And the families will say, well, we'll just pay for that additional course because we're going to start after graduation anyways. And that's an option to self-pay if you go over. So let's talk about the differences between high school and college. So tests. In high school, tests are sometimes given weekly or at the end of each chapter. And in college, tests are generally fewer in number and cover much more material. Sometimes you might even have just a midterm and a final, and those grades weigh pretty heavy on your end grade. Study time is a little heavier as well. Typically in high school, required homework ranges between 1 to 3 hours per day. And in college, standard rule is 2 to 3 hours of homework for every hour spent in class. So on average, we're talking 3 to 5 hours per day. So keep that in mind too in regards to time, especially if your son or daughter works or is an athlete or has extracurricular activities. They'll have their high school schedule, but if they're taking a college class or two, they're not just going to be taking a college class or two during class time. They're going to need extra time outside of class for studying and homework. Knowledge acquisition. In high school, information is provided mostly in class and the out-of-class research is pretty minimal. Where in college, coursework will generally require more independent thinking, longer writing assignments, and out-of-class research. In grades, high school has numerous amounts of items that affect your grade, including quizzes, tests, homework, where college, there's fewer tests and if any homework to determine final grades. All right, parents, so we'll talk about your role in college. In high school, you are a strong advocate and you work closely with your teachers and counselors. You have access to the information in regards to the high school and your son or daughter's academics. Where in college, you serve as more of a mentor and support for the student. The college views the student as an independent decision maker. We do have to follow FERPA at the college level, and that's the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. And it protects student education records. So some of you guys might be familiar with HIPAA in the healthcare system, where those healthcare records are confidential. The same goes for educational records, and the state does not necessarily, we don't necessarily see them as a minor if they are going into this program in the 7th and 8th grade. So with that being said, we need their permission in order to discuss their academics or schedule or anything with you as the parent. So that's what the FERPA is. It's a one-sheeter that the student fills out, and we fully support having a support system and a family unit involved in the student's success. But we just do have to make sure that that FERPA form is signed so that we can openly communicate with you as well as the student. All right, so accommodations. If your son or daughter has an IEP 504, parents and students work closely with high school staff to determine what assistance and accommodations can be made for students. It's mandated by the state that the district provide those accommodations. Where at the college, we will have no idea if your son or daughter needs learning accommodations unless they self-disclose. So it's important that they tell us, their academic advisors, hey, I have an IEP 504, some sort of learning plan. That way we can refer them to our accessibility services office. Students at the college level will need to register with the accessibility services office and submit their IEP 504 or any documentation from the high school. That way the accessibility services office can review those accommodations and see what accommodations the students can have at the college level. IEPs and 504 plans may or may not be included in discussions and advising. Colleges aren't really supposed to ask, well, do you have an IEP or do you have a 504? We don't necessarily ask that during our advising sessions. So always ensure, we want to set your son or daughter up for success. So if they have those learning accommodations, make sure they self-disclose so that we can get them the help on the college end as well. All right, so let's talk about the benefits of the CCP program. Obviously, dual enrollment, earning college and high school credits at the same time and getting a head start on their career planning and degree or certificate of completion. Experience college early to understand the expectations of college life, and obviously save on tuition and textbook costs. There is no cost involved in regards to tuition or textbook in this program from the students or their families, unless they fail or withdraw from a course, which we'll discuss here in a minute. All right, so the consequences of underperforming. If students do not earn a passing grade or if they withdraw too late from a college course, the school district may require student or their families to reimburse the tuition that the district had paid. So while it is free of cost for your families, obviously the money's coming from somewhere. So any Fs or Ws that are reported, what happens is the school district is charged for the failed grades or withdrawals, and then they can in turn bill those families. So it's a good incentive for your son or daughter to perform well, and just remember to ensure that they're ready for something like this. The grades that students earn will be on the students' college transcripts permanently. They will follow them from institution to institution. So if they go into this program not being academically ready, they have a 2Ds and a C, obviously they're not starting off on the right foot, and that's going to follow them into post-high school graduation. So again, readiness is key. If a student fails to withdraw too often, future financial aid may be impacted negatively. So for more information, you can contact the college's financial aid office for details regarding this. If students perform poorly, they may be placed on a CCP probation, dismissal, or on an academic probation or dismissal by the college. Okay, so basically, the rule currently is if your son or daughter falls below a 2.0 college GPA, they are going to be put on a probation, where they're only eligible to take one course the next term, and it cannot be in a subject area where they have withdrawn or failed. And if they remain below a 2.0, they will be placed on dismissal for a term. There is appeal processes that they can go through with your local school district. Oh, look at me getting ahead of the game. So again, there is appeal processes with the local school districts. But again, this rule was actually put in place a couple of years ago, and it's really for the safety of the student. If they're not really academically ready for this program, we don't necessarily want them to continue to perform low and receive a low GPA on their college transcript. Okay, covered all that. Okay, so CCP probation and dismissal appeals. So for probation, students may appeal to take a course in the same subject area which he or she previously earned D, F, or received no credit. Okay, so a D or an F or no credit. CCP dismissal, within 5 days of being dismissed, the student may submit an appeal to the secondary school to appeal the dismissal, or the student may appeal at the end of the CCP dismissal semester. And each school must have a policy describing the process for appeals. All right, so what are the expenses for CCP? At public colleges or universities, there will be no cost to the student or families for tuition, required fees, and books. At private colleges or universities, there will be no cost to the student or families for tuition, required fees, books, and students may be charged a small cost per credit hour. You can check with the private college to see if they will change or charge this fee. And there are some optional expenses that are the responsibility of the student or family. For example, parking passes and transportation. Students must complete the intent to participate form and provide to the public school by April 1st, 2021. So the form that Ms. Paul showed you at the beginning of this presentation on the Bedford High School website is the intent to participate form for Bedford High School. That does not commit you to anything, as she's stated, but what it does do is it shows the guidance office at Bedford. My son or daughter is interested in this program for the upcoming school year. We'd like to discuss it more, and it kind of gets the ball rolling in regards to making sure that they are eligible, where they need to assess and see what your options are for the next school year. And this way they can get your schedule kind of taken care of before summer lets out as well. On the intent to participate form, students must indicate a tentative plan to use option A or option B for payment of the College Credit Plus courses. So CCP or self-pay. All right, so there are two options for payment for option A. Students can choose option A. The family or student will self-pay for college courses at the standard rate of tuition, fees, and textbooks. And under option A, students can choose to earn college credit and high school credit or only college credit. Okay. Students must inform the school of their choice of credit for courses. Students will indicate a tentative plan to use either option on the intent to participate form, and must select this option by informing the college when registering for the course. So when I register the student for self-pay, that's how it's going to be billed. But if I register them for CCP, then they will not get that bill unless they fail or withdraw from the course. The final date to change the election of option A or option B is on or before the college's no-fault withdrawal date. Students are given withdrawal deadlines at orientation. We do orient the student every year. I come out to Bedford. This year we did it virtually, where students get withdrawal dates, student services information, etc. All right, so option B, all college courses, tuition fees, and textbooks are paid for by the state. Okay, students will earn college credit and high school credit at the same time. Students will indicate a tentative plan on their intent to participate form, and option B is the default or standard option for College Credit Plus. So students may be asked to confirm the election of option B in the college advising process.
Get into it, sound into it, you want me to?
Okay, so what are the support services available to the student? What's great about dual enrollment is you have dual resources. You have the resources at the high school level, and then you have the resources at the college level. High school counselors continue to provide assistance to all College Credit Plus students, and college advisors provide course selection assistance. Colleges must provide the same academic supports to College Credit Plus students as they do traditional students. So for example, tutoring, library access, advising or counseling. If you're a CCP student and you utilize an LCCC resource, we will treat you no differently than a traditional student. Nobody would even know you're CCP unless you told them, honestly. So you have all of those options in regards to your support services. So student athletic ability, the first thing I'm going to tell you is definitely work with your guidance counselor as well as your coaches or athletic director at the secondary school, because a lot of colleges don't necessarily work in the high school athletic realm. But you definitely want to learn about the Ohio High School Athletic Association requirements, because obviously you have to remain in good standing full-time. I know there's flexibility with this going on with COVID right now as well in some school districts. So again, this is something that you're going to really want to communicate with your school guidance counselor. You do know that summer term CCP courses cannot be used to bring a student into compliance with OHSAA requirements. All right, so will your college credit plus credits transfer? Certain general education and technical courses will transfer, especially from one Ohio public institution to another, okay? Students must check with the college to confirm transferability, and you can use transfercredit.ohio.gov. Basically, it's always up to the receiving institution whether or not they're going to accept that college credit. But if it's on the Ohio transfer module, it's guaranteed to transfer to any of those public institutions in state. And that Ohio transfer module is found at that website. And again, this presentation is going to be recorded, so you can visit back to this information and these links, but this information is also on the state of Ohio's website under CCP dual enrollment, okay? So what does being college ready mean? Consider emotional and social transition and college expectation. It is more than just being academically ready. Consider time management, consider organizational skills as well. Grades earned in these courses obviously will be calculated in both GPAs. So it's important that you remember that this might affect financial aid post-graduation as well. All right, let's talk deadlines. April 1st, 2021 is when you need to submit your intent to participate form to your high school guidance counselors. I know you can do this prior because we want to make sure that you have the option and time to assess if needed, and it gives the counselors a little bit more of a heads up to start the process with you and get your schedule situated. Test early to meet the college or university admission deadlines if required. And semester deadlines. Summer semester deadline will be as early as classes usually start in May. So again, check with the college for other semester deadlines. On all of the colleges and universities' websites, they do have their academic calendars with these type of deadlines. So how do you get started? Complete the intent to participate form, apply for admission at the college, contact the college to discuss their admission requirements, and meet with your high school guidance counselor to discuss scheduling and high school graduation requirements. All right, so I do want to give you this website because this was a lot of information in 45 minutes, and I want you guys to be able to reference back to something. ohiohighered.org/CCP is where you can find this presentation. It also has information on eligibility. It also has information on stories of student success stories, student warnings. There's contact information on this website as well. Lorain County Community College also has a CCP site or webpage on our website. And we do have individual schools broken down with our partner schools. So for example, if you click Bedford Bearcat College, you will see the classes that we run at Bedford, as well as my contact information. So make sure you do utilize the websites in order to obtain all the information you need for this program. So what Lorain County Community College offers at Bedford High School currently is Biology 151 and 152. 151 runs in the fall, 152 runs in the spring, general and human biology. We also offer English Composition 1 and 2. English Comp 1 runs in the fall, and English Comp 2 follows English 161 that runs in the spring. So testing requirements to place into these courses. Obviously, you need to submit your intent to participate form. complete the LCC CCP application online, and your high school guidance counselor will send me a transcript to review whether or not you have a 3.0 unweighted GPA. If you do not, but you still want to attempt to participate, you can assess using ACT or SAT, or submit ACT or SAT scores, or assess using the AccuPlacer. The AccuPlacer is what LCCC uses to determine placement eligibility, and that is free of cost, and you can do that remotely. So if you have below an unweighted 3.0 GPA and you still are interested in participating, that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. So you are going to let your guidance counselor as well as myself know, and we can arrange for testing again on a case-by-case basis. So you can place into biology 151, 152 using the GPA, but English, however, does require 4 successful semesters of high school English. So juniors and seniors with a 3.0 unweighted GPA are eligible to take English Composition 1 and 2. Okay. Again, if your son or daughter is under those requirements, they can still assess to see if they place into those college English courses. Now, just remember, if they do choose to assess and they still don't meet that placement or admission for CCP, that's okay. A lot of students take remedial courses even once they have their high school degree under their belt. So if they're not ready, maybe they will be the following year after another year of English and math under their belt. I do have my contact information here. I also put it in the chat at the beginning of the presentation with my email as well as my phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this slide up for a minute or so that way you can write down my contact information. And while you were just giving a lot of information, just remember that intent to participate form is due to your guidance counselors by April 1st, so that way you can get that ball rolling. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and see if we have, actually, before we take questions, I am going to let the other colleges and universities chat as well. I know we have Mary Lynn on. Marilyn, do you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, I'll get started. Thanks, Amanda. You did a great job with the presentation. There's always a lot of moving parts with CCP, but I think you did a great job of making it easier to understand for all of us. So thank you very much for doing that. My name is Mary Lynn, and I'm an admissions counselor at Kent State's Twinsburg Academic Center, so right down the road from Bedford. And we are part of the Kent State system. We are one of the regional campuses. In essence, we are an open enrollment school as well. So for CCP, we follow all of the state remediation-free eligibility requirements, just as LCCC does. So that should be pretty easy for all of us to remember. If your student is interested in going to the Kent campus for CCP, their eligibility is a little bit different, especially in non-COVID times. They are a selective admission campus. But today I'll be talking mostly about our regional campus here in Twinsburg. So I just have a couple slides to show. I'll be real quick because I know time is of the essence and we are all zoomed out and PowerPointed out. The biggest change for any of you who are current CCP students from Bedford here with us at Kent State is if you are returning for the next year, you do not have to reapply for admission at our campus. Yay, we're finally with the times here. So that is important to note. Check your Kent State email if that applies to you, or contact me if you haven't gotten any notification of that yet. If you are thinking about taking CCP as a brand new student, these are application deadlines for summer and fall. Those are the most pressing ones, April 15th and June 1st. So you still have lots of time. And of course, you want to get that intent to participate form in first to your school before you start this application with us. And as Amanda explained, our eligibility for the next coming year is a 3.0 GPA or higher. And if you don't have that 3.0 GPA, we also offer the AccuPlacer. We have remote and in-person options. So I believe my next slide talks a little bit about that. You can also submit ACT or SAT scores if you don't have that 3.0, or again, take the free AccuPlacer with us. And these are the benchmarks that we are looking for. Okay. For our AccuPlacer testing, you do need to have a photo ID. So that could be a state issued ID, such as a driver's license, or a school issued ID, but it does have to have your picture on it. This is especially important for any of our remote testing. We need to make sure it's you and not your dog taking the test, okay? And if you have a Chromebook, it probably won't work with our remote testing. We have had issues with that. Our website is there, and I'll include our website again at the end. Again, mostly you just want to give us, a call or contact us, and we'll help get everything set up for you. Any student who wants to take a math course with us does need to meet eligibility through AccuPlacer or GPA, but then needs to take a separate math placement exam. We find many of our high school students are not ready for college level math, but some are, and good for you. So we just want to make sure that you are eligible and able to do that college level work with us. And just as Amanda mentioned, and Ms. Paul, there are test prep resources available. So take advantage of those if you do need to take an assessment with us. At our campus, you are a full-fledged college student, just like at Lorain County Community College. And so you have all of the resources available to you as our traditional college students. I particularly want to note here student accessibility services. Again, if you do have that 504 or IEP, come talk to us. We'll help you get set up with accommodations on the college side. Can be a slightly different process than what you have on the high school side. And finally, on that slide, tutoring. Definitely take advantage of tutoring as a college student at whatever school you're at. It's free, it's included. It doesn't mean that you are not a good student. In fact, it means that you are investing in your education and you want to do better and learn more and really master the material. Just a little plug, if you do after high school decide to come to our campus here in Twinsburg and you have been a Kent State CCP student, we do give you a bump on your merit scholarship dollars, so you would bump up a tier. So let's say you had a 3.7 GPA and you were a CCP student with us and you decide to come to us after high school, we're going to bump that up to $2,000 a year. So just a little incentive for those of you thinking about maybe where you'd like to go. Next steps, Amanda has already talked about this, but again, depending on the college you want to attend, you want to make sure that you understand their deadlines. So you've already attended your CCP information night / morning in this case. Turn in that intent to participate form. At our place, our application is available at kent.edu/geauga/CCP. I think so, or just go to kent.edu/geauga. We'll need your high school transcripts. We have a permission form you need to fill out and send in, and test scores, of course, are optional if you don't have that 3.0. And then just like every other college, we do orientation and we help get you registered for classes. My contact information is here. I'll also put it in the chat. I have a coworker that you might encounter. Her name is Bethany. She's super cool, way cooler than me actually. So either one of us can help you out with CCP. And if you have your phone out and you want to scan that QR code, this is a virtual folder that we have with resources for our CCP students, prospective and current. You can also email us at geaugaadmissions@kent.edu. Our Twinsburg campus is part of the Geauga campus. It's hard to explain, but just trust me, if you email geaugaadmissions@kent.edu, I'll be happy to chat with you. And of course, we're on social media. That's all I got. Thank you very much. I'm going to check the chat to see if there are any questions for me, but I will toss it over to the next person.
I don't know, Daniel or Miss Paul, did anybody else join, any other institutions?
From what I can tell, it doesn't look like anybody else has joined.
I'm here from Cleveland State.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, Amanda.
That's okay, not a worry. I have a quick little PowerPoint as well, and we'll get that shared here. Maybe. There we go. All right, so at Cleveland State, a lot of the same stuff that's already been mentioned here, but I just want to go over how to apply. At CSU, you do need to fill out our College Credit Plus application at engagecsu.com/apply. Just like everyone else, we'll need the official high school transcript and ACT, SAT scores if you have them, but it is believed that for summer and fall, we'll be waiving that for students that have over a 3.0. You may have to take a placement test at Cleveland State depending on what classes you plan to take. And then we also do have an authorization form that we need signed by both the parent and the school counselor. We do have application deadlines as well that we're pretty strict on, so please be mindful of these if you are interested in coming to Cleveland State. If you're interested in the spring semester, you need to apply by November 1st. If you're interested in the summer semester, April 15th, and then the fall semester is June 15th. We're pretty strict on these because of the CCP orientation that you have to attend, and want to make sure that you are not being rushed through that orientation process and scheduling for your classes. After you apply at CSU, you can check your email for your CampusNet login information, which is your CSU ID and password, and then you want to monitor CampusNet for updates on your application, including any missing documents that we might have. After you've been admitted, kind of the same thing. You need to attend the orientation, schedule your advising appointment, obtain your books, and then you'll want to monitor your CSU email for details about the orientation, but just in general as well, because that's how most of your professors and advisors will contact you. If you do want to visit Cleveland State, we do have limited on-campus information sessions and tours daily starting back up on Monday. They are Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., 12 p.m., and 2 p.m. They are limited to 4 students per tour with 1 guest per student. Masks need to be worn, but we do offer those at your convenience. And then we also have virtual information sessions and tours. Virtual information sessions are daily at 10 a.m. and then there's a tour at 3 p.m. on Wednesdays, and then after the 10 a.m. tour on Fridays. So if you're interested in any of that, you can sign up at engagecsu.com/visit. And just my contact information with our CCP advisors' contact information as well. If you have any questions on the admissions process or your application, you can reach out to me. And then if you have any questions on what classes to take or the orientation process or anything after you've been admitted, you can reach out to Tanisha, who is our advisor. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will also put my contact information in the chat. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Amanda. Is there any other institutions on with us? I don't think there is. Excellent. Well, I do want to mention, because I did notice in the chat there was one common theme. I did keep repeating a high school unweighted 3.0 GPA. If you have a middle school student, it's the middle school GPA that works as well. So if you're a middle school student, 7th and 8th grader, has a 3.0 unweighted GPA, that does qualify them for the CCP program. And I did see Mary Ellen respond to that, so I appreciate that. I wanted to shout it out just in case nobody's looking at the chat too. Okay, so, and I do want to say too, I know remote learning has been quite difficult for a lot of our K through 12 students. Just know that at the college level, remote learning and resources is not new. It's something we've been doing for a while, and a lot of working adults do utilize the remote services and courses. The benefit is that those online classes and remote and services are beefed up. Definitely. So like Mary Lynn said about tutoring, that's huge. I know at LCC we have an online tutoring platform in our e-learning department, and students can self-register for it. I registered myself as an employee just to see what the resources was like for students, and it's great. They have a lot of information on there. I get email notifications for that platform. So just make sure that your son or daughter, when they participate in this program, they fully immerse themselves in those college resources as well. While your son or daughter might take a college class at a campus, that gives them excellent exposure and experience to what college life is like. The classes that LCCC runs at the high school, does run on Bedford's academic calendar and their bell schedule. So a lot of athletes and students who are involved in their high school activities do choose that option because of the flexibility there. But a lot of upperclassmen do decide they want to try a class or two at a college campus. And I just think that's a great experience for them. But again, just remember in regards to eligibility, yes, we're talking academics and GPAs, but sit down as a family as well, discuss whether or not your son or daughter is ready for these type of courses. For example, we have a comparative politics and national government course, and there's some heated discussions in discussion board posts that are mandatory in your college class. So your son or daughter is going to be in a classroom, either online or in person, with 14-year-olds to 80-year-olds with different opinions and views and life experiences. So again, sit down, have the conversation with your family to discuss readiness and what your goals are, and we're happy to help you through this process. I'm going to look, I know everybody's done an excellent job at answering the questions in the chat. Is this enrollment open every year? I'm afraid my child is not ready this year. Yes. April 1st is typically the deadline every year for intent to participate. So if you want another year of those academics under their belt, or for them to be socially and emotionally ready, you can wait. Is there a way to study for the AccuPlacer test? There is. Accuplacer.org. You can go to that website. There are sample questions and preparation for those assessments. I've seen a huge difference in scores when students prepare first, because they even know what they're going into. They're familiar with the format when they actually go and assess. Accuplacer.org. I'm going to put that in the chat here.
And there's also a link on our website as well, where parents and students can go and access that link as well. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. And LCCC, I know there's 2 versions of the AccuPlacer. At Lorraine County Community College, we use the next generation. I believe most colleges do, but you will want to check with that institution. Okay, let's see. When thinking about college courses, okay, that's me. I believe we've addressed all the questions in the chat. So what I'm going to do now is, first off, I want to just thank everybody for their time in participating and investing in your child's options in regards to this program. So if you do need to hop off, I completely understand. Please make sure that you access this presentation and recording on the websites, on Bedford's websites, on all college websites, but you can stick around and ask any questions. We're happy to answer those.
Thank you so much, Amanda, as always, for presenting for our parents and students. We truly appreciate you. Thank you, Amanda and Mary Lynn, for joining us from your institutions. We truly appreciate you all. And so once again, the information is on our website. So if you want to personally talk to someone, have questions, please reach out to them. They are always available and ready and willing to answer any questions that you have. Of course, we're all virtual, so I'm pretty sure the best and the fastest means of reaching them would be email. So please reach out to all of the counselors by email and advisors by email if you have any questions. So it's been an hour. So we thank you and appreciate everyone who has joined us today. Do not hesitate, even with the Bedford City School District staff here, please reach out to us through email. That is the fastest and quickest way to reach us as well, because we are not in our offices. So email is best form of communication with us. We will reach back out to you all. So thank you everyone for attending. Thank you so much for our college advisors for being there with us. We appreciate you all.